look where it is today, because nobody managed that going forward, nobody maintained it. And so managing our paving program and making sure that our roads stay in good shape is part of what we can do now to make sure that in the future we don't have these problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cunningham. This next question also goes to you. Each candidate has been endorsed by one or more political party. How can we be sure that you will represent all members of the community and not just those members of those political parties?
When you run for office, you look for political parties to support you, because running for office is a monumental task. No one could do it alone. And the parties look for people that follow their same philosophy, and they support them to get into office. I can tell you that once I got into office, I represent everybody in this auditorium, everybody in this town, regardless of party. Party affiliation is not a consideration when we're talking to people and determining what we can do, how we can help you. So I think that the question is a fair question, but I think that for my record speaks for itself. I think my opponent's record speaks for himself. I don't think that there's anybody on the town board currently who looks at party as a way to set policy. That's not what we do here. And so I think I plan on continuing what I'm doing. I hope that people are happy with that. I hope you're going to vote for me November 3rd.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cunningham. Mr. Messina.
Thank you, Bill. Comment on one issue with respect to infrastructure. Even the whole notion of what direction we go in infrastructure, without getting into the nuts and bolts, has to be addressed. I recently heard that we might be looking at infrastructure improvements for our offices and buildings first. Heard that recently. That may not be the direction to go, because we need to look at what's deteriorating in the ground. So that's a major policy issue. The other one is paving. I'm not saying we shouldn't pave our streets. I'm saying there may be new scheduling methods and things we can do to save some money on paving and doing it more effectively. With respect to political parties and balance, I'm in the Independence Party. The reason the Independence Party didn't support me this time around, and 4 years ago the Independence Party, my own party, and the Democratic Party supported me, is I truly have acted independently. I hope I have not acted arrogantly, but I've spoken out for the people. I can give you no clearer demonstration about my belief about bringing people together than to say, at my campaign committee, sitting around the table, are a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, and a conservative. And we work together, and we hash out our details. And that's exactly the way I think we need to be doing things in our town government. I would love to welcome in the leaders of the political parties in case they have different interests or are concerned about other things going on in different parts of town, to ask them perspectives and see if we can start bonding at that level. So Republican, Democrat, Independent, Conservative, Working Party, Family, they're equal members of a team here in Bethlehem as I see it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Messina. Does Bethlehem have term limits? Which we've established that it does not. But would you support their adoption?
That depends if I'm supervisor or not. Term limits. There's been a lot said about term limits. I support them if they're used judicially and in the right way. And that means detailed analysis. How many terms should there be? What should the length of a term be? What office are we talking about? At the local level, I would agree with some of the other comments of the town board candidates who were here. It probably becomes less important than it does at the state and national level. I would tell you, from what I've seen in my experience in New York State government, working with the legislature, with governor's office, with many state agencies, that term limits would be a real advantage. Incumbency has hurt more than it's helped. Partisan politics has hurt us as citizens at all levels more than we could ever know. The embarrassing example of the New York State Senate, embarrassing from the perspective of both major political parties, is a good example of why at some levels term limits could be a good thing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Messina. Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you. Well, if Sam gets elected supervisor, I'd agree with term limits also.
4 years, Jack, or 2?
My fear with creating term limits, first of all, I agree with the whole concept that at the local level it doesn't make as much sense as at higher levels. But my fear of term limits is that once we establish a term limit, you end up with bureaucrats who are not accountable to the voters running our government instead of elected officials who are accountable to the voters running our government. So in general, no, I don't support term limits. I think that the voters are the determinator of the term of the elected official, and I think that the real issue is we should have more active citizens, more active in participating in the electoral process, more interested like you folks are here tonight. But considering we've got 33,000 people in this town, and this is the crowd that we're able to draw, you can see why that term limit, it becomes the solution, or it becomes the perceived solution. The solution is really more participation, more of our interest in what's going on, and more of our demands on our elected officials to respond to our needs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cunningham. I've been told that this will be our last question of the evening. It goes to you. Is the 2% tax increase proposed for 2010 really necessary? And do you have any ideas for eliminating it during these hard economic times?
The 2% tax increase that we proposed for the 2010 budget represents a 5-cent increase per thousand. If your house is assessed at $300,000, it's a $15 per year increase of your taxes. It's not 2% of your overall property tax, it's 2% of your town blended rate tax. General fund, highway, water, and sewer. The reason we raise taxes is because currently our demand on revenue is greater than what we're bringing in, and part of that has to do with the downturn in our economy. Our budget relies heavily on sales tax revenue. 25% of our money comes from sales tax revenue. When the economy turns downward, people stop spending, sales tax revenue declines, and we need to make that up. Now, we're not making the entire gap up with the 2% increase. The 2% increase is a relatively small portion of where we're getting all of our revenues from in order to make up the gap in our budget. I would not recommend eliminating a 2% increase in our property tax because I believe that it's important for the continuation of our town government, for the continuation of our services, for us to keep this revenue stream going. So I proposed it, I still support it, and we'll be doing more on the budget at our November 10th meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cunningham. Mr. Messina.
I propose no tax increase this year. My colleagues will point out that I have supported tax increases in the past, and I have done so. It's a matter of public record. Mr. Coteria spoke extensively on that point at the town board meeting last night. These are different times. These are tougher times. These are times when people need to see their government be more responsive to them. Sidewalks are not the major issue when I walk around town. I don't think anyone walks around more than I do. And I hear taxes. I have seen grown men with tears in their eyes because they have to sell their house. Now, that is a decision they should not have to make. Nor is it my right to tell them you need to downsize. The reduction I'm talking about can be done without impacting any services and any people. It's 0.5% of our budget, a total of $195,000. It'll send a signal to the public that Bethlehem is different, and Bethlehem should be different. Let's not follow Albany County. Let's not follow other communities that are raising taxes. If we can, this year, not raise taxes.